Best friend set me up and it ended up in a police investigation. Let's talk about it. So out of my group of friends, I was labeled the crazy one because I do a lot of unhinged shit. I had two best friends, one named Miley and one named Sarah. And Sarah and I met right before we got into high school. And at first, her and I really hit it off. But then the more that I got to know her, the more I realized she loves attention and will do anything to get it, including embarrassing me in front of a group of guys. Yeah, now that you know a little bit about them, let's go back to when this whole situation started. The first football game of the year. I just got cheated on by my ex-boyfriend, and Sarah convinced me that it would be a good idea to go up to random guys at this football game, asking them to kiss me, and then recording it to make a compilation and send it to my ex. My ex kind of did something similar to me, except worse, way worse. Really hurt my feelings, actually. This random girl sent me a video of her laying in bed with my man with a few other girls. They had no clothes on. And after, she goes, OMG, so sorry, wrong person. And I'm like, I'm sure, you bitch. So my personal plan to get revenge on him was to just make out with one guy, send it to him, and then whenever he's like, bro, what the fuck, I would send him that video and be like, what now? You cheated first. Duh. I had to cheat back. Don't hate the player, hate the game. But guys, I may have won the battle, but he won the war. Because I sent this video to him, and he basically tells me, LOL, I don't give a fuck. The girls that I was with were way hotter than you. And I was like, oh yeah, that hurt. Because I had a lot of issues with self-esteem at the time. So after that, I didn't respond and I blocked him. Because he really hurt my feelings. So then this video ends up going around the school, and everybody starts calling me a slut. I didn't know kissing people made you a slut, but okay, yeah, sure. Fast forward to homecoming, nobody asked me, which I was really upset about, because I'd always wanted to be asked to homecoming or something with a sign, and yeah, it just didn't happen for me. But it happened for Sarah, and she made sure to rub that shit in my face. But I kept my cool and ignored everything that she said. So we get to the dance and I meet this guy Liam there. He was super sweet, super respectful, didn't go to our school, which I thought was a win, until I find out that this is the guy who asked Sarah to homecoming. She got so pissed off at me, probably because she didn't like that a guy who liked her moved on to somebody else, even though she didn't want that guy. But yeah, she starts trying to embarrass me. She's like, ooh, your makeup looks like shit in this lighting. When she realized that that wasn't making Liam go away from me, she pulls me aside and she's like, okay, that's enough of this. He's off limits. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she was like, that's literally my cousin. And I'm like, girl, what the f? 1, ew, 2, ew, 3, what the f? She was like, yeah, like our parents were best friends since we've been little, so that's basically my brother. It's like, okay, girl, you're either family or you're not. Then she goes and she's like, I just don't want him with some you know? But I was like, no, I don't know. Fuck you. And then I went and I danced with him. So Liam and I keep talking on the DL for a while because I was absolutely terrified to tell Sarah. But then finally, when him and I started dating, I knew that I had to tell her. So I came up with a really heartfelt text message, basically like, hey, Pookie, you've been such a good friend, which obviously was a fucking lie. And I'm sorry that I basically fell in love with your cousin, who's not your cousin, who you say is also your man. Please forgive me. I didn't get a response back from that until an hour later. He responds with, yeah, see, this is why you're a you just can't keep your legs closed, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh wow, thank you. What a heartfelt response. And then she starts texting Liam saying that she's going to beat me up and jump me, and I'm like sitting next to him while she's saying all this, so I like look over at his phone real quick to see what he's saying, and he was actually defending me. I would like to say, ladies, get you a man like this, but this is bare minimum activities, okay? Okay, so no, shoot higher than that. But yeah, no, he was like, if you touch her, you're dead. And I'm like, period, fucking bitch. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Liam becomes a piece of shit. Yeah, but I probably should tell you guys a really important detail. Before he stopped responding to my text messages and being short with me, him and I did the nasty. Yeah, so it was right after that. Doesn't really make you feel too good about yourself. So towards the end of our relationship, whenever he wasn't giving me any attention, I started talking to this other guy, Grant, and he was giving me all of the validation and reassurance that my man wasn't giving me. Now, I never cheated on Liam, but I know I'm wrong for cheating emotionally, low-key. But at first we were just friends until Liam and I broke up and we started getting intimate. But the one day I get a call from my mom and she's on a business trip in Germany. First thing she says is, why the f is there a boy in your room? And I'm sitting there trying to think, oh shit, like what did I do? Because my parents are strict. Like I get my phone taken at a certain time at night. They go through my phone. But then I remember I took pictures with Grant and they got put into the family shared album. So my dad runs into my room and he takes my phone. He goes through it, and I'm not gonna lie, Grant and I had sent some pretty spicy text messages and pictures to each other. Yeah, we did. So I basically get grounded forever. But I was not about to let this thing with Grant be ruined. So I got a trap phone. phone. Yes, I did. And we started emailing each other. And in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, he loves me. This older guy, he's even emailing me on a trap phone. No other guy would do this. But what I'm forgetting to mention is that I was also sending him spicy pictures and questionable videos over email. Fast forward, I finally get my phone back and I decided to fuck shit up again for myself. Because I'm like, I want to see this man. So I plan to sneak him over again. But here's the thing, y'all. We had a whole system, okay, that worked for a fat minute. I had LED lights in my room, and we would use those as signals. So when he would drive past my house, if the light was white, that meant, wait a second, my parents are kind of stalling, not going to sleep as they should be. Red meant that it was safe for him to come. And then blue meant stop everything, keep going, don't even look at my fucking house again. So yeah, like I said, this worked amazing. Till the one night, I thought my parents were asleep, and they weren't. Instead, they decided to surprise me and come into my room and take my phone to go through it. I didn't have time to delete the text messages because my dad was literally staring at me like, bitch, I will snatch that shit out of your fucking hand if you don't give it to me right now. And I'm like, okay. So like not even 2 seconds of him leaving my room, he's like, okay, who the fuck is Grant? Why is he coming to my house? Y'all, I couldn't come up with a better excuse. I'm literally sitting there and I'm like, maybe he wanted to go for a bike ride? Yeah. And my dad just looked at me like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Do you think I'm fucking stupid? Like, no, I don't, but I hope you are. So what does my dad do? Instead of texting this Grant guy and being like, hey, don't come to this house, blah, 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 he gets in his car, sits at the end of the driveway, and waits for him to show up. Thank God I had this system put in place for Grant because I turned those lights blue. And so he kept riding his bike past my house. And my dad starts following him in his car. Eventually he loses him, and then my dad like screams out the window, if you ever come near my house or my daughter again, I'm gonna kill you, blah, blah, blah. After this, Grant broke up with me. And I'm not gonna lie, this is whenever I realized that most of our relationship was just physical and he used me. The one night he gave me his most favorite hoodie in the world and then he kept asking for it back and I was like, you know what, no, f you. And I set it on fire, took the ashes of it, put it into a bag and gave it to him during school. So now, what does he do? He's like, oh hell no, she's not getting away with this. Him and Sarah start to become friends. Yeah, they do. And then all of a sudden, people are coming up to me telling me that they've seen my pictures and videos. And I'm like, oh hell no, there is no way. There's no way. So I go to the guidance counselor, even though I voluntarily sent them. Hell no. No, it's just no. No. It's just not okay. I start crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, like he did this, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, okay, well, we're gonna have to open up an investigation. And I'm like, period. Do what you gotta do, queen. Wrap this shit up, please. Before the rest of my high school experience is ruined. And thankfully, karma did its thing. He got expelled. Sarah and him started dating and she's pregnant with his kid, but he's still hitting up 14-year-olds and he's 19. So yeah. Have you guys ever been catfished by your ex-boyfriend? No? Well, I have, so I'm gonna tell you about it. Okay, so boom. There was this guy, Jack, who I've known since middle school, and we decided to start dating in our freshman year of high school. This man was the man of my dreams, and for one of the main reasons being that he did not give a fuck about other females at all. Like, a girl would try to talk to him, nope, I have a girlfriend. But then fast forward a year, all of a sudden he wants to be a nice guy. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck? You can keep being a piece of shit. That's fine. Keep doing that, please. It's working. But no. And then when I asked him, like, hey, why are you being a little bit more friendly towards females? He told me that over the summer, he wanted to change up his characteristics. Whatever the fuck that means. You know what that means, ladies? That's an excuse to start fucking around with other females. Yes, it is. That is what that is. Anyway, so the one day after class, my friend Chloe walks up to me and she shows me a photo of Jack rubbing a girl's thigh in class. And after school that day, I confronted Jack about it, but he was like, no. She was forcing me to. I didn't want to rub her thighs. I swear. When have you ever heard a man say that in his life? When has a man like, be so fucking for real? So then he's like, I'm so sorry. I won't do it again, even if she tries to force me to. And I'm like, bro, okay, all right. So because of this, I start paying more attention to the shit that he's doing. I realized that he started going out more and that he was turning off his location. Big red flag, but I ignored it. Until I didn't. Eventually, I confronted him about this because it was super sus. I didn't even get 3 words into confronting him before he decided to flip the whole situation and make himself the victim. Like, oh, I have to do this because you're like this. So we end up breaking up. And 5 months later, I meet this guy on Snapchat. He was really cute, nice, and seemed caring. And so I start to catch feelings for him. So finally, I tell him that I like him and he asks me to be his girlfriend. And of course I say yes. But I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to y'all. At this point in my life, I was willing to date anybody because I was lonely. Okay? There was an empty space in my heart whenever Jack left. And I'm not afraid to admit that, you know? But then shit started to get really weird when the next day, after I get a boyfriend, Jack keeps smiling at me and trying to talk to me. And I'm ignoring him because, bitch, I have a man. Stay the fuck away from me. Then, over the next 2 months, my boyfriend Mark starts acting like a douchebag. There's no other way to put it. He was asking me to send him pics 24/7. He didn't really want to talk to me, and he never wanted to FaceTime. So the one day, him and I were actually having a really good conversation for the first time in a while, and then he asked me for pics, and I sent them to him. And then a week later, Jack comes up to me, and he shows me the pictures. And he's like, if you don't do the nasty with me, I'm gonna post these everywhere and tell everybody that we did the nasty anyways. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I don't really have a fucking choice. And my parents were extremely strict, so I decided to do the nasty with him because I didn't want them to find out that I had sent pictures to my man. But then after we did it, he still ended up telling the whole school and sending those pictures around. Of course, my parents found out about this. They moved me to a new school, and I basically got grounded for the rest of my life. But can I just say, the audacity of this man. He still messages me to this day asking me to get back with him.
So, am I the arsehole for refusing to go to my sister's wedding after finding out that it was only our side of the family that were paying to attend? Story time. So, my younger sister, who we'll call Amy, and her partner Steve are getting married in April in Dubai. She has always wanted an extravagant wedding and is going all out on this day. The wedding is happening over 4 days. There's over 70 guests, but they want us, me, my husband and parents, to stay in the same hotel with them, along with her bridesmaids, which I am the maid of honour and he is the groomsman. So with flights, this is costing us just over £2,900 each. Steve's family are also staying in the hotel, which includes his parents, 2 brothers and his nephew. They are all super well off. I don't exactly know how much they all earn combined, but I know that Amy is on 88k and she's the lowest earner of the family. But about 6 months ago, Steve and Amy came to us and asked if they could borrow 17 grand more. They stressed that it would be paid back over time and said the venue had increased the price. Dubai law is very different, blah, 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 blah. They paid this money or they lost a lot. We believed them and offered to loan them 7k and my parents offered the other 10k. So long story short, I have since found out through someone else that this £17,000 was not for the venue. It was for Steve's family to be able to fly there. They saw how much it was going to be, didn't want to pay and refused to go. I asked Amy and she confirmed. So my first question was that they were paying for his parents. Why are we paying for ours? I would never expect them to pay for me, even if I couldn't afford it. I'd have wished them well and stayed at home. And her answer was because they can afford it. She got very, very defensive and said that this was the fairest way that they could think to do it. It's hard enough planning a wedding, etc. But when I asked if you genuinely thought that the fairest way to do it, why did you then lie about asking for £17,000 for what you said was a venue issue? She couldn't answer the question. My parents are aware and are very, very disappointed that they lied, but have said that they will still be attending. But I have decided to back out the wedding. So you're like my maid of honour. I'm relinquishing that title. To me, it feels like my parents are being taken advantage of, exactly. And if they can't afford to pay for both our and Steve's parents and his brother and nephew, then they shouldn't have just paid for 4 parents, or they should have just paid for the 4 parents and no one at all. And they especially shouldn't have lied to us. Steve and Amy keep calling and asking me to attend, saying I'm making them feel bad and I'm ruining their day, but this whole thing just feels icky to me. I'm genuinely an open book, so be brutal. Am I the arsehole here, or should I just suck it up and go? My mother-in-law ruined my gender reveal. Story time. So I'm 22 weeks pregnant, and my husband Steve and I decided that we didn't want to find out the gender at the ultrasound. We had asked the tech to write it down and seal it in an envelope, and then we gave it straight to a baker so that we could be surprised along with everyone else at our gender reveal party. So I had planned everything. It was a gorgeous garden party. We had lots of confetti. And the whole thing was perfect. I let my mother-in-law, Bertha, help with the planning because I wanted her to feel involved. Everything is actually going extremely well. Bertha walks in holding the gender reveal cake. As she's walking towards me, she drops the cake all over the patio, face down, blue and pink icing goes everywhere. People are gasping. They are acting like someone's been shot. I'm standing there with my mouth wide open, holding a balloon, trying not to scream. Ooh. Then Bertha says, and I quote, well, if you really wanted it to be a surprise, maybe you should have waited until the baby was born like normal people. Like, I'm sorry, You just dropped my gender reveal cake and now you're acting like I'm the dramatic one. But here's the twist, Tatty. Later that night, I found the envelope, the one with the gender in it, hidden in her purse. It had been completely unopened, which means she never actually gave it to the bakery. There was never a real reveal planned. Oh my God, she followed the whole thing.